basically. So let's jump right into it here. So the Carolina Panthers. My question for you, Christian, is what does this offense look like under Frank Reich? What does this team look like? What are your thoughts on this?
It's going to be interesting to see how much does he bring over what he did in Indianapolis, and what has he been able to look himself in the mirror and fix the mistakes, and maybe do some things that in Indy maybe he was a little my way or the highway about, and is he willing to maybe listen to a little bit more criticism? Not that he wasn't. I'm not exactly too sure how all that went down in Indianapolis. It kind of seems like that was kind of a last resort type of thing. They had to make some type of change. They already went through the quarterback carousel, and ultimately Frank Reich's job just, he got the axe there in Indy. So honestly, that's kind of a hard question to answer, especially because all he had in Indianapolis was veteran quarterbacks. Now he's got a rookie in Bryce Young. So it's going to be interesting to see exactly how much he asks of the rookie quarterback from day one. He's already beaten out Andy Dalton for the starting job, so he will be the week 1 starter, unless he goes down with some sort of injury or something like that. But it's going to be interesting. I mean, they brought in quite a few names in free agency to help the young quarterback out. Are they going to be a run first, run heavy offense? That is kind of the type of offense that Frank Reich liked to run in Indianapolis with Jonathan Taylor. They spent a lot of money in the offseason with Miles Sanders. They still got Chuba Hubbard, who once they traded Christian McCaffrey last season, he kind of flashed onto the scene. So if I had to guess, it probably will be something similar to what we've seen in the past in Indianapolis, a run first, run heavy offense, especially with a rookie quarterback. And then maybe mid-season we start to see things change with that offense, and maybe they become more pass heavy because they do got some decent pass catchers that they acquired in the offseason.
Yeah, and one of the questions I had for how the season's going to shake out is, what does Adam Thielen have left in the tank? He had a fantastic run from undrafted free agent up in Minnesota, but last year he looked a little slow. So, is he going to be somebody who's able to be out there for 17 games? And if so, what impact does that have? And what does this team look like? And they traded away DJ Moore to your Chicago Bears. What does that look like? So I know they liked, is it Tommy Tremble? Was there a tight end they have?
Yeah.
Yeah, and you talked about the running backs here. So they like their team. They think Bryce Young may have some pieces in order to grow in that offense in his first year. But Christian, here's a question for you here. Tell me why this wouldn't be the perfect landing spot for DeAndre Hopkins. Give me one reason.
I think it would be a really nice landing spot for the Carolina Panthers to get DeAndre Hopkins. I don't know if it makes a ton of sense for DeAndre Hopkins to go to the Carolina Panthers, though. I mean, you could lay out every reason why it would make sense for the Carolina Panthers to make this signing. I mean, you mentioned it. Adam Thielen, how much does he truly have left in the tank? They did bring in DJ Chark as well, who's coming off of a nice year in Detroit. He showed some flashes when he was with the Jacksonville Jaguars. And then that obviously would kind of lift the burden off of those two guys, bringing in a guy like DeAndre Hopkins, who some think, he doesn't have a ton left in the tank. How big of a fan I am of him, and I think he's still got plenty left in the tank. And again, I think it makes all the sense in the world for the Carolina Panthers to even, honestly, throw him a 1 year, $12, $13 million deal. I would even go that heavy for a guy like that, because that could make the world of a difference for a young rookie quarterback like Bryce Young. You've already invested a ton in this quarterback by trading up to get him number 1 overall. You've already proven that he's your guy, he's your future. Why not go out and make a splash signing like that and bring DeAndre Hopkins, who's from the Carolina, went to school at Clemson. I think it makes a ton of sense. I don't know if it makes a ton of sense for DeAndre Hopkins, who's probably looking to win now, or at least in the next couple of years. And I don't know if that matches with what the Carolina Panthers, what they're trying to do at this moment.
You're right.
Or how ready they are, I should say.
I did not think about that. DeAndre Hopkins is trying to win right now, and I don't know if that's going to happen in Carolina this year because they got some question marks there. So that'll be a reason why he has to sit out. But I think the formula for developing your young quarterback has always been let them start for a year or two and then go get them a weapon, a la Stephon Diggs to the Bills, a la Justin Herbert with Keenan Allen. He's always had a weapon, but like the Jets
What the
wanted to
Bears
do
are now
that.
doing.
What the
Right.
Bears are now doing, DJ Moore to Justin Fields. The Jets wanted to do that with Zach Wilson, but Corey Davis wasn't it. He's still on the roster. He's still a good player. He's from Chicago, so I never have any Corey Davis slander, but he wasn't able to do what Stephon Diggs did.
I could pull up the receipts.
Above the receipts, burn them. All right, let's talk a little bit about what the Carolina Panthers did in the draft here. So they took Bryce Young first overall and kind of traded quite a bit to get him. I don't know off the top of my head what all they traded, but what are your expectations for Bryce Young going into his rookie year?
It's hard to say. I mean, just don't flop out. I mean, you can kind of see, not just play average ball. I think that's all you can ask for a rookie quarterback to play is just be average at least. I mean, if you're better than that, then great. But don't shit down your pants. I think Kenny Pickett kind of last season. I think he did all right. I mean, he was the one and only first round quarterback of last year's class, and ultimately he did beat out a veteran quarterback in Mitch Trubisky for that job. And the Pittsburgh Steelers offense certainly ran a lot better under Pickett than it did Trubisky. So, I mean, if you can at least keep the veteran quarterback behind you, in this case, it would be Andy Dalton, who, as we know, I mean, we've already seen the best of Andy Dalton. He probably is a career backup from this point on. Was a decent starter in Cincinnati. Was never special, though. So, as long as you see some promise and you see some flashes, every game would be nice, but sometimes that's not the case. I could remember Justin Fields' rookie year, and there was some games where, or even just last year, week 4 against the Houston Texans, week 3 or week 4 against the Houston Texans, somehow, some way, the Bears won that game, but it was probably the worst game I've seen Justin Fields play in his career, and that's year 2. So, I mean, it's going to take some time. Again, what they gave up to move from 9 to 1 to draft Bryce Young, this isn't going to be all sorted out and figured out after 1 year. It's going to take some time. And again, I mean, as long as he's not getting killed out there, getting hit. I mean, again, he is a smaller quarterback. I know a lot of people had some pause for caution in leading up to the draft because of that. As long as he can stay healthy, get him every rep that he can get, and it should only do him wonders for year 2.
Yeah, I'm hesitant to say that he's going to have a great year. I think okay, here's a question for you. Is his rookie year more closely look like Zach Wilson's or Trevor Lawrence's? Because Trevor Lawrence didn't have a great rookie year. It was good,
Right.
but like Zach Wilson's was terrible, I think. So like on that spectrum, where does he fall? Somewhere in the middle, closer to Zach or closer to Trevor Lawrence?
With Frank Reich being there in Carolina, with the veterans that they added, Adam Thielen, DJ Chark, I'm still holding on hope for Laviska Shenault. I think it's going to be closer to that Trevor Lawrence season, because now Trevor Lawrence, you can make an argument that last year was his rookie season because year 1 was just a circus show with Urban Meyer running things. But just with the pieces around him, I have a hard time thinking it's going to look more like Zach Wilson's rookie season than Trevor Lawrence's.
That's fair. But do you expect him to play every game, all 17 games? Like, do you think he's protected enough that he doesn't miss any games toward injury? Because you said it like perfectly that was a concern from a lot of draft people. But the Carolina Panthers said that what he does on the field is special enough that we think we'll be able to protect him. He'll play smart football, and he can thrive in Carolina.
If I had to go one way or the other, I think he does stay healthy. I think he plays smart. He does stay healthy. I mean, yeah, he was small in stature and whatnot. We are talking about a quarterback, though, that did play in the SEC. I understand he played for the second best team in the SEC behind Georgia, obviously, at Alabama. But and I don't think he really. I know he missed some time due to injury, but I don't think he missed like a great deal of time throughout his career at Alabama. So again, and you're talking about probably one of, if not the second best offensive line in the SEC. So I mean, I know there's a lot of variables that play into that, but if I think if he was able to stay healthy for the most part in the SEC, and I know it's a bigger jump, it's a higher jump. I don't think the small stature size is going to affect him though in the NFL if he was able to survive the SEC. Now, am I saying he's going to go on to have like an Eli Manning iron, whatever they used to call it, Eli Manning streak where where he goes 200 straight games without missing a game? No, absolutely not. You don't predict that for anyone. Obviously, he'll miss some time at some point. Whether that's his rookie year or not, it's hard to say. But if I had to go one way or the other, I'll say he will play smart and he will stay healthy. Will he be banged up? Sure, but if I had to go one way or the other, I think he stays relatively healthy this season.
I hope so. I think he'll probably have, and I think it could be a detriment to him that he might have to just say, you know what, my ankle hurt, but give me that cortisol, whatever it is, shot, that pain relief shot, so that I can get out there because I want to beat the stigma that I'll always be hurt and that I'll miss games and stuff like that. Maybe he'll do that. Maybe he won't. We'll just have to see. I do want to talk about one last thing. Missed their draft. So they had a decent draft, but I really, really liked the Jonathan Mingo pick, wide receiver from Ole Miss. As you know, I've been an Ole Miss fan my entire life. So I got to watch a lot of Jonathan Mingo, and let me tell you, I was really impressed by him. He's not DK Metcalf, but he's not Elijah Moore, who both went to Ole Miss. He's like somewhere in the middle. But the Carolina Panthers think that this guy can do everything they ask of him at that X position. So watch out for Jonathan Mingo, rookie wide receiver. You might put up 600, 700 yards and 4 touchdowns. That's just my prediction.
I was really excited a couple years ago when they took Terrace Marshall, the wide receiver out of LSU, in the second round. Obviously, he's kind of been a flop up to this point. Mingo, he was a second round pick, right?
Yeah.
So similar to Marshall, a lot of people thought that, hey, they might be able to sneak in the late first round. Instead, they get these guys in the second round. So hopefully Mingo's career plays out better, at least to start, than Terrace